I've always wanted to build an extremely high-end liquid-cooled gaming system, overclocked, pushed to the limits, into a briefcase. And finally a company came to us. They didn't want this specifically, but what they wanted essentially was a high-end gaming system. They were after frame rate, maximum gaming performance, so the latest high-end components, but the maximum out of the parts. So overclocked, pushed to the limits, and liquid cooled, but at the same time they wanted it to be portable, lightweight, and rugged. So this just seemed like the perfect opportunity for this idea, and finally I could do it. Now this is just the concept. This is just prototype 1, so very rough, just to kind of prove that we could do it and to start figuring out the layout. But the ultimate goal here, and what I had in mind originally, you can see this acrylic midplate, which is really all there is to this mod. You can see this is quite an easy mod. I hope to see a lot of people doing this because it's great for a LAN system, something portable, and it's insane what you can fit into a normal A4 briefcase. I mean, at the time, these components were the latest. We had the 7700K, overclocked to 5.2 gigahertz, and delidded the Titan X. But you could fit a lot more. You could even fit an M80X into this if you really wanted to. I mean, we were planning on playing around with this a whole lot more. But just imagine if this midplate were a manifold. Everything integrated, pump top, the pump, the reservoir, the loop. I mean, you could even integrate the radiator into the wall of the briefcase itself. Maybe not a traditional radiator, some sort of heatsink made from copper. Really nicely made carbon fiber briefcase. I mean, this is something that I'd really like to take a lot further, but also at this level, a very fun mod, and not that time consuming or expensive. I think it just took us a couple of days to build this. The most time consuming part was just cutting out the acrylic by hand, making a few mounts, but yeah, definitely a lot of fun. So the loop is mostly full. I'm just waiting to get all of the air out, which is definitely going to take longer in this loop because it doesn't have a reservoir. I'm filling it the old way, how we used to fill loops back in the days before there were proper liquid cooling components. So we used to use something called a T-line, which is basically just off a section like this, a T-fitting with a long tube coming up, and that's exactly what I've done here with this pump top. So it's really the same as having a reservoir. It's just a smaller space, which means that it takes longer for the air to come out. It makes it a bit more fiddly and difficult to fill. A reservoir is more for ease of use and aesthetics than anything else. It's just a filling point, a point for all of the air to very quickly come out. You can see there's a lot of air in here, and it'll be hours before this air is out, because we don't have a nice large space here for it to enter. It's just entering the pump top and then getting turned into tiny bubbles and getting pushed straight back out again. So it's not an ideal situation for air, but we just couldn't fit a reservoir in here, obviously. Just means it's going to take a little longer, but it'll still work fine once it's full. Now the reason we have this blank space here is because when this is finished, this is only a prototype. This is only prototype 1. There'll be a prototype 2, maybe even a prototype 3 before the final version. But in the second prototype, this piece here will be a manifold, and this here will be the reservoir. The reservoir will be built in here into the manifold. So there'll probably be a couple of logos here, Singularity Computers, the logo that of this company, the company that this is for. So I'm really looking forward to getting to that point, because it's going to just look amazing to have this as a manifold. But you can see it's a pretty basic loop. Most of it is on this side. It's only the GPU and the radiator that's on the bottom side. So just those two tubes drop down to the bottom, and those two tubes there. But yeah, that's about it for now. I'll probably give you one final look once it's finished and booted and up and running. We still need to do the cables, cable management, connect things like the pump, the fans. The coolant is just going to be clear. There's going to be no lighting. This is a very practical system. It's not for aesthetics at all. Actually, I still need to make the holes in the briefcase as well for the connectivity, but only a little bit of the connectivity is actually needed for this project, so I'm only going to make a couple of little holes. So I had to move the system up against the wall over here and put it up on an angle, because otherwise the air just wasn't coming out. And the reason is, with the pump top design, if I was using the top port, the inlet port is directly below it, sucking in the fluid. So the air can't come up if the current is going straight down. It just pulls the air straight back down with it, so nothing was really happening. But now that it's up on an angle, it can build the air up in this corner a little bit further away from the inlet where it's being sucked downwards. Because what's actually happening is it's coming in here into the top section, in this little section here, and then it's being sucked into a lower section and then being pushed through the loop. So I think this will help the air to come out a little bit faster, but it's still going to be a while.